Welcome back to Heal Me with Chocolate. I'm your host, Dr. Beata Lerman, and this episode is the spicy one. We're diving into 5 controversial truths about functional chocolate. Truths that might just shake up what you think you know. We're cutting through the marketing fluff and getting real. Whether you are a chocolate skeptic, a health nerd, or a full-on cacao convert, this one is for you. Welcome to Heal Me with Chocolate, the podcast where we talk about food, health, and how different food affects health. If this is something that of interest to you, we invite you to join our growing village. Let's go. We all know that people assume that dark chocolate equals healthy chocolate. But not all dark chocolates are created equal. Most grocery store dark chocolate is loaded with sugar, soy lecithin, and processed cacao with very low antioxidants level. A bar that's labeled 72% cacao could still contain 20 plus grams of sugar per serving. And let's talk again about lecithins, common emulsifiers found in conventional chocolate. Soy lecithin is most widely used and often derived from genetically modified soy and extracted with hexane, which is a chemical that is toxic to our brain and neurons. Even the sunflower lecithin, even though it's considered much cleaner, can disrupt gut microbiome and trigger inflammation in sensitive individuals. People say that lecithins are added for the stability and shelf life, and I have this awesome story when I was at Dallas Chocolate Festival and I was having a conversation with a Brazilian guy who sourced cacao from his father's farm and he makes the chocolate out of it. And so I'm looking at the chocolate and I see cacao beans and then cane sugar, not my favorite, but bear with me. And the third ingredient is soy lecithin. And I'm asking the guy, I'm like, why is that there? I mean, if it wasn't there, maybe, just maybe, I would say this is a good product. And the guy didn't know what to answer me because the first thing he told me is, oh, this is required to temper chocolate, so it forms proper crystals. Well, there is plenty of chocolate, even at the same festival, that was being made, and at Sinless treats we make chocolate without adding any soy lecithins or lecithins at all, and it tempers perfectly, beautifully fine. It gives it the shine and the snap, and I was like, I don't think that is the right answer. And then he tells me, oh, no, I messed up. The lecithin is there to increase the shelf life. And once again, the informed consumers like me and you guys would probably say, chocolate is a product that has no water. There is no water activity to support any kind of bacterial growth. In fact, chocolate never goes bad if it's a real chocolate because there's just nothing for the fungus or bacteria to grow on. And then he finally say, I will have to call my family and find out why it's there. But in reality, I didn't need his answer to know why it's there. It's there to take space. It's there to make chocolate more liquidy. It's there as a filler. So, and it's a toxic filler. So when people say that there's lecithins there to extend shelf life and improve texture and stuff like that, just know that they're not being straight up with you. And that additive comes at the cost of purity and digestive health. Anybody who's seen my reels probably has seen me doing this before when I would take a bottle of clear water and shake it up and it would be clear water. And then I would put a tiny drop of sunflower lecithin in it and shake it up and it would soap up like a detergent in your washing machine. It's exactly what the emulsifier is. It's a detergent. It's the thing that keeps other thing in suspension. And it does to your gut exactly what the detergent would do to your shirts. And this is why it's so detrimental to your gut health. Now, let's talk about processed cacao, specifically the difference between natural cacao and Dutch processed cacao, also known as alkalized or cacao processed with alkali on the packaging of different chocolate bars. Dutching or processing with alkali is a chemical treatment that reduces cacao's acidity and darkens its color. That was wild when I read that. I actually never understood before why I would see cacao processed with alkali on the packages. I would never buy these things, but I never understood why they needed to do that. But when I read the definition, it made sense because a lot of cacao beans, specifically the Forastero and Trinitario variety that's grown as a monoculture in Africa, is really sour, bitter, and astringent. And those are not the tastes that is desirable for the consumer. So they're trying to use chemical process and this very harsh treatment to get rid of undesirable tastes. At Sinless Treats Chocolate, if you're familiar with our products, we don't have that. We use the Cacao Nacional original DNA Ariba variety from Ecuador, and it's naturally sweet and chocolatey and not at all sour, bitter, or astringent. So we've never had that problem before, and I didn't know it exists until I started reading about it, and that entered my universe. So, what does the processing with alkali do? It also significantly reduces the flavonoid content. Remember those flavonoids that are nutraceuticals, the medicinal parts of the plants, specifically in cacao, that supports the heart health, the gut health, the brain health. So those are antioxidant compounds responsible for most of cacao's health benefits. In fact, Dutch processing can eliminate up to 90% of flavonoids. Think about that next time you look at your favorite cacao package and see that it's processed with alkali on the packaging. Just think about that. Alkalized cacao may taste smoother and less bitter, but it's largely stripped of all of the compounds that make chocolate functional. Unprocessed cacao, like what we use to make all of our chocolate, retains all of the polyphenols, but alongside of those retains magnesium, selenium, manganese, iron, and other trace minerals that are so vital to our health. And let's not forget the fillers. Many mass-market chocolate brands use additives like whey powder, milk fat, palm oil, and even artificial colors such as caramel coloring or preservative to cut costs. These additives dilute cacao benefits, irritate digestion tract, spike insulin levels. So when you're choosing chocolate for health, those fillers are silent saboteurs. Truth bomb for you, number 1. Unless your chocolate is low glycemic index, made with minimally processed, single origin functional ingredients, or third-party tested, made with unprocessed cacao and free from emulsifiers and fillers, you're not getting the health benefits you think you are. So, sugar-free can still spike your blood sugar. Surprise! Just because it says sugar-free, it doesn't mean it's safe for your metabolism. We've talked about that in one of the previous episodes. Let's go back to maltitol and sorbitol, the two common sugar alcohols used in cheap keto or diabetic-friendly chocolate. I always said the bigger the package say the word keto, the less ketogenic functionally it really is. So I usually avoid anything that says keto or keto-friendly on a package. And on our packaging at Sinless Treats Chocolate, we don't even mention that. Because when the product is truly clean, you don't need to scream about it from every rooftop. People will know the difference. When we go back to our diabetic-friendly chocolate, maltitol and sorbitol sweeteners, maltitol has glycemic index between 35 and 55, and sorbitol is 9, respectively. Maltitol is particularly problematic. It spikes insulin almost as much as glucose does and causes significant bloating and gastrointestinal distress in many people. Sorbitol, although it's lower in glycemic index, rapidly ferments in the gut and can worsen symptoms of IBD or SIBO. Here's a truth bomb number 2. Always look for glycemic index of your sweeteners. At Sinless Treats, we use a blend of non-glycemic whole plant stevia and inulin, the prebiotic fiber extracted from chicory root. We sometimes mix those with the small amount of erythritol that derive from organic apples and pears, not corn. This blend doesn't spike blood sugar or insulin and help promote healthy gut bacteria while enhancing the chocolate's natural sweetness without bitterness. It also, because of the high fiber content, helps sequester the sugar out of the bloodstream and very gently lower blood sugar levels. Plus, inulin adds a very creamy texture to support satiety. Many customers told us they feel satisfied after just 1 or 2 bonbons because they're not getting blood sugar crash following the craving. Let's go to the next point. Organic doesn't mean heavy metal free. Another thing we've talked at length about in other episodes, although uncomfortable truth, even organic chocolate can contain toxic level of lead and cadmium. I think we have seen this and we've talked at length about it. The Consumer Report has done an amazing job. They looked at over 200 different chocolate brands and they found which ones contain which level of those 2 heavy metals. And those metals, don't get me wrong, they're not sprayed on the chocolate. They're absorbed from the soil in certain cacao growing region, especially in volcanic or contaminated zones. Volcanic is pretty clear. What does the contaminated mean? Contaminated means is monocropped farms which has depleted soils and have soil erosion that put those chemicals in order to keep that soil producing at least something decent. Organic monocrop farming doesn't automatically remove environmental contamination, but regenerative agroforestry farming can. Some organic certification focus on pesticides use only and do not test for heavy metals. This means you can be buying chocolate with a USDA organic label that still exceed California Proposition 65 limits on cadmium and lead. So if you're curious about, I'm happy to link the Consumer Report in the notes below. It is from the year 2022, and it's easily found on Google or your favorite search engine if you just look in heavy metals and chocolate. It would be the first link that would come up. At Sinless Treats, we source from regions with naturally low heavy metal risk, primarily high-altitude Ecuador and northern Peru sometimes. Our clean cacao beans and the chocolate are lab-tested for every batch and certified below the Proposition 65 thresholds. We also provide those certifications to anybody who asks. We believe in transparency, and we believe that you deserve a peace of mind with every bite of Sinless Treats chocolate you eat. So that's the third truth bomb. Organic label don't always equal clean. Ask for lab testing, not just organic certifications. We are entering the age when chocolate becomes fortified with different organic plant-based ingredients, and we've talked about that as well, such as adaptogens, nootropics, and such. Let's talk dosages. Many so-called functional chocolates are just chocolate with a whisper of herbs. If a product has only 50 milligrams of ashwagandha or 25 milligrams of lion mane or any other adaptogen that you think, oh, this is great in the chocolate, it's not enough to have the effect. Clinically effective doses start in between 200 to 500 milligrams, depending on the ingredients. The truth is, it is expensive to formulate the chocolate with effective qualities of nootropic, adaptogens, and probiotics. Most brands include just enough to make claim on a label, but not enough for your body to feel the difference. Here is our truth bomb number 4. Always read the ingredients, list and supplement facts. If it's just sprinkle, skip it. At Sinless Treats, our darkened milk chocolate bars, and actually all of the chocolate that we have, because it comes standard, comes with 400 to 500 milligrams of broccoli microgreens powder that have been shown in clinical studies to improve cognition, sleep, stress resilience, inflammation, and immunity. In fact, broccoli microgreen powder or its active ingredient sulforaphane has been tried in over 115 clinical trials on clinicaltrials.gov. 85 of them are in cancers, and everything else is in different conditions from autism to schizophrenia. And all of those have very, very positive results, which is why we put it in there. We always tell to customers, you think you're eating a chocolate, but you're really eating a salad. And our customers often tell to us, I didn't think that chocolate could actually do something like lowering the inflammation and helping them lose weight until I tried yours. That is the power of precision formulation, science, and also verifying the claims that we tell people. We love good skeptics, and we love to hear your stories once you actually try the chocolate. Finally, we've talked about this before as well. Fair trade doesn't mean regenerative or transparent. Fair trade has become a buzzword, but it's not a guarantee of ethical farming. Fair trade certification allow a monoculture cacao farms with eroded soil that depletes biodiversity to still have certification on a label. Many brands with fair trade seals cannot trace their beans back to a single community or a farmer. And that's sad, because every farmer has a story, and very often it's a story worth hearing. Regenerative farming, on the other hand, focuses on restoring ecosystem, supporting long-term soil health, and empowering small growers. At Sinless Treats, we partner directly with agroforestry cooperatives in Ecuador, where farmers like Pedro or Francisco grow heirloom cacao without chemicals, using traditional practices that nurture the land and protects biodiversity. Here is our truth bomb number 5. Transparency is everything. If a company can't tell you where their cacao comes from the last harvest, it's time to ask more questions. There you have it, 5 uncomfortable but powerful truths about functional versus conventional chocolate. So let's summarize. How to choose metabolically friendly chocolate. Number 1. Look for cacao that's unprocessed, non-alkalized, and high in flavonoids. Number 2. Check for sweeteners. No maltitol, sorbitol, or high glycemic options. Number 3. Avoid soy lecithin, palm oils, and artificial emulsifiers and fillers. Number 4. Demand transparency, clean testing, effective dosages, and ethical sources. And number 5. Choose brands that value education, not just aesthetics. Remember, knowledge is delicious, and the more we know, the better is our choices and our chocolate become. Join us next week for a Season 1 finale of Heal Me with Chocolate. We will celebrate your questions, our favorite moments, and tell you what's next on the journey of the functional cacao. Don't miss it. And in the meantime, if you're curious about our chocolate and you want to know our mission and vision and future plans, check out us on our website, sinlesstreetschocolate.com. And I'm looking forward to having you with me at our season finale. Thank you.